I don't believe what I just saw.
This is one of the great moments in the history of baseball.
I believe in miracles. Yes!
Is this the dagger?
November 29th. In today's episode, a new home for the Canadians and their fans. An NFL rookie gets some chin music. Lucky number 7 for Messi. An NFL tragedy eventually turns into triumph. Yet another trade the Astros would like to have back. Plus, 2 native Winnipeggers and another guy choose the best players in Winnipeg Jets history in our dork draft. These jewels and many other shiny sports diamonds get dug up on this episode of This Day in Sports.
Exceptional writing there.
Wow.
These jewels and many other shiny sports diamonds.
Huh?
Get dug up.
Get dug up.
See?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a little free time.
And to be fair, I'm actually from Flin Flon, Manitoba, but I lived in Winnipeg a long enough time. That's where I met Matt.
yeah, you lived in Winnipeg.
So I'm not, I did enough Winnipeg time, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relative to me, anyway.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's
Yeah.
fair enough. Went to the many Jets games. Love the Jets.
I've worked in Winnipeg a couple of times. I've certainly been there enough,
Yeah.
but I in no way lived there.
now,
Yeah.
we went to the
You'll
last...
remember.
Yeah, and I assure you that my later Jets picks will be
Okay.
names only and not memories.
Totally fair.
And
Totally
Sandy,
fair.
did we go to the last game?
We did against the Red Wings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before they
Oh, at the
moved,
Winnipeg
before they
Arena?
left.
They
Yeah.
lost the playoffs. Everyone's in the whiteout, and all of a sudden people started throwing like mustard and ketchup packets. And everything. I remember Mike Vernon's like into his net because they were throwing so much stuff on the ice.
Yeah, I feel like we went to like a restaurant and we got like on a bus and went.
Yeah, it's
Didn't we have
possible.
a package deal or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
It's a long time ago. Okay.
Yep. It's a long time ago.
Was that 96?
But yeah, 96, the last year, we met at the Pony Corral, I think, and head on down there to the Jets game.
Wow.
If you're in Winnipeg, get a chance to go. The Pony Corral, it's moved, of course. So you haven't been in Winnipeg in a while. The Pony Corral has moved. But
Shout
it's
out
still,
Pony Corral.
Well, there
still
were a
exists.
couple. I thought there were a couple of them at some point.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe speaking of sponsors,
Oh,
which
yeah.
they are not.
Do you want to get into it? Well, listen, if we can get the Pony Corral, it'd be great. Gondola Pizza, if you want to sponsor. Enough Winnipeg references, says Mike.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying it.
Listen, we're talking about Cabin, Barber, and Gentleman Supply. They are the sponsor of the show. That's where we are right now. If you look around this, what's happening on here, if you're watching on YouTube, you got Frank back there on that table there, just surrounded by 2 old school phones, maybe a partridge. You don't know what you're going to find at Cabin, but you know you're going to get a great haircut.
Snowshoe.
Thank you. Possible shave, haircut, shave, and you know what? A ton of compliments.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do at Cabin. You get down here in Port Credit, a couple of locations too. If you're in Union Station in Toronto, even if you're on the Queen's Quay in Toronto, you're going to get in there. You're going to love the environment. Everyone works there is fun.
Yes.
You
Very
know,
nice
great
staff.
personalities.
It smells great in here too.
Always smells
I
great.
was told it's the cabin room spray.
Yeah.
But it is.
It's a room spray.
It's actually a thing, and it's really nice.
Well, the owner of Cabin, Louis Manzo,
Yeah.
very generously, of course, is sponsoring the show. He smells like this all the time.
I can't imagine.
And it's a wonderful smell inside his beard.
Life smelling that good. It'd be.
His beard is just coated. This smell is just twisted out of his beard into a cup. They light the cup on
And
fire.
that's the room spray.
Is he a
That's the room
hugger?
spray.
Is he a hugger?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get right in there, Matt.
Also hats.
Oh yeah, lots of good hats.
Lots of good hats.
You got a Cabin Fest hat.
I got this toucan. I got a Cabin Fest toucan. You can get a ball cap. You can also get like a fedora.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There's fedoras back there now where there used to be like tie clips or cigar cutters.
Shook it up. They got a fedora room.
Fedoras
They got a
are
little haberdasher.
all the rage. Yeah.
Well, for more, check out cabinforlife.ca. We're jumping in because it's November 29th, and we want to tell you what happened this day in sports. Who's got one?
1934 on November
Matt.
29th. So is there a delay on your
No,
headphones? Okay.
totally fine.
1934 on November 29th, the first ever nationally radio broadcasted NFL game took place on Thanksgiving Day as the Lions lost to the Chicago Bears 19-16 in University of Detroit Stadium. The Lions were playing their first season in Detroit after having moved there. They were previously known as the Portsmouth Spartans from Portsmouth, Ohio. Detroit continues to host a Thanksgiving game to this day.
Yes.
So that was 1934, the first ever nationally radio broadcasted NFL game.
1967, perhaps the best trade in Blues history. as the expansion St. Louis hockey team traded Ron Atwell and Ron Stewart to the Rangers in exchange for Red Berenson and defenseman Barclay Plager. Berenson scored almost 600 points in a Blues uniform, and Barclay spent his entire 10-year NHL career in St. Louis. Both men spent time as the team's captain, and both have had their uniform numbers retired by the team. And on this same night, November 29th, 1967, the Blues defeated Los Angeles 3-2, giving legendary head coach Scotty Bowman the very first win of his NHL coaching career.
Hey.
How about that?
How about that? Those are two guys I never really know much about or really have heard of.
Who? Red Berenson and Barclay Plager?
No.
Well, you don't know your St. Louis Blues.
I don't know my St. Louis Blues well enough.
You don't know the two Rons? You don't remember when the two Rons
You certainly
got
don't
traded?
know the two Rons.
I'm going to close my laptop. I'm going to walk out of this room, and you're never going to see me again. I'm moving to St. Louis. All right.
Study up on the Blues.
2015. Okay. 2015. Despite hitting a bogey, a double bogey, and a triple bogey on the front nine of the final round, Matt Jones held on to win the Australian Open by one stroke over Jordan Spieth and Adam Scott by lipping in his final par putt on the 18th hole. He had holed out from the bunker on the 12th hole to preserve par and shot a 2 over par 73 that day. What does that tell you, kids? You never know what's going to happen. You got to keep into the game because you might suck off the top and then look at the ending there. You're just completely capitalized. What do you think of that, Matt?
You might suck off at the
you hit
top.
that a little hard.
Okay. Hold on.
Let
me try again.
A bit too 70s,
Doug.
coach.
And you decided to address the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Not just everybody.
Hey, everybody out there, just remember that tells you that no matter how hard it is right now, it's going to get better.
You stay in school.
Stay in school, even if you're 40.
That is about perseverance, though. To have that mental iron.
It's
to
crazy.
Stick
That's
that
why
out
it's
and not.
made the show.
That's why it's in the show. And also, like a lot of golfers start off hot, and then by Sunday, they're gone.
And fade.
Yeah.
So this is
I
the
don't know if
exact
you've
opposite.
seen that movie Tin Cup.
Never heard of it.
2018. Winnipeg's Patrick Laine scored 2 goals during the Jets' 6-5 win over Chicago. At 20 years, so this is his age, at 20 years and 224 days old, he became the 4th youngest player in NHL history to reach 100 goals scored. The only 3 who were younger than him? Anyone want to guess? You're probably looking at it?
Well, we're looking at it, yeah.
Okay. It's Wayne Gretzky, Brian Bellows, and Jimmy Carson.
Yeah.
No way anybody gets those last 2.
Did not know that.
No.
The youngest 3 guys to score 100 goals. Gretzky, everybody gets.
Yes.
Next 2 guys, I don't think anybody would get that.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Jimmy Carson and Brian Bellows, no.
Maybe even Brian Bellows doesn't get it.
Yeah.
We'll test.
We should call him up. We'll get him on the show.
Yeah, get him on the show. We need Brian Bellows on the show.
From my hometown of St. Catharines.
Yeah?
Let's get him on the show.
Let's get Brian Bellows on the
if you're
show.
out
Let's
there,
go.
I know you're listening. Come on the show.
Yep.
I'm not going to go over that Blues trade again because everybody is not going to. Okay. 2021. Paris Saint-Germain forward Lionel Messi won the Ballon d'Or award as the premier football player in the world for a record 7th time. Though sometimes criticized for its voting process and it's seen as somewhat of a popularity contest, it is still recognized as the world's most prestigious individual football award. Messi, who has since that day won it again, is the only player in history to win the award for 3 different clubs and is the only player to win the award while playing outside of Europe because he just recently won it while playing for Inter Miami.
That's completely insane.
He's got 8 of them. I think the next person has 4.
Oof.
Yeah,
I would think so. Yeah. But there's no doubt there's always controversy in soccer or football. Depends where you're listening today. With everything.
Shout out Europe.
The band. 2020. During a 28-27 loss to the Vikings in Minnesota, Carolina Panthers rookie safety Jeremy Chin returned 2 fumbles, one by Kirk Cousins, one by Delvin Cook, for touchdowns within a 10-second span in the third quarter.
Wow.
Oh, within it. Wow.
Yeah, I double-checked it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely true. He had 2 touchdowns within 10 seconds on fumble recoveries, basically back-to-back plays. He recovered a fumble and ran it in for a touchdown.
So you got your touchdown and a fumble.
Yeah.
Clock stops.
Yeah.
Kickoff.
Yeah.
First play.
First play.
Vikings make
It
Delvin
had
Cook
to have
fumbles. runs it in.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been on the kickoff.
And he would have kicked it, then the punt would have been like on the 20 or something like that, and then he runs it in.
And he was a rookie. Like, so he's in his first NFL season. Like, on the flight home, he's like, it's never going to get better than that.
No.
I'm never going to have a better game than that. All right. In 1971, as part of an 8-player trade, the Houston Astros traded 28-year-old second baseman Joe Morgan to the Reds, along with Cesar Geronimo and Jack Billingham. Morgan had been an all-star twice in Houston, but really hit his stride and solidified the Big Red Machine lineup once he got to Cincinnati. Even though Morgan actually played more seasons in Houston, his best years were in Cincinnati. In 8 seasons with the Reds, he was an 8-time All-Star, a 2-time NL MVP, and he won 5 Gold Gloves.
Nice.
Hard to believe that he did play more. It's true, but that he played more years in Houston. I don't think anybody thinks of him as an Astro.
No,
and everybody thinks of him as like a key foundational piece of that Big Red Machine. But he actually played 10 years in Houston total. And
that trade was big, but the Reds got Jack Billingham from the Astros.
And Cesar Geronimo.
They got Tommy Helm. Was it Tommy Helms?
No, Cesar Geronimo was the other guy.
Not in that deal, but they also got Helms.
Yeah.
Also was from there was guys. They just were pulling in guys. It was like almost like the Astros were their farm team.
Yeah, they were kind of the Kansas City Athletics to the Yankees.
Yeah,
in the 50s, where the Yankees got all their players from them too.
But there was, I don't know. I'd have to dig in. I mean, I think with the Astros, the overwhelming feeling was that Morgan had just kind of hit his peak, and now is the time to get rid of him. Yeah. And then he goes on and gets even better.
Well, yeah, because he was 28, and he was, he was a good player, but man, he went nuts when he went to Cincinnati.
Absolutely did. Did we skip you, Matt?
You did. Yeah. Mike was really excited about Joe Morgan.
Do you want to do a double shot? Do you want me to go on the double shot, or what do you want?
We'll just skip me. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I'll go right now. In 1964. Rookie Mel Renfro set a Cowboys franchise record for return yardage in a game that still stands when he combined 156 kickoff return yards with 117 punt return yards and a TD for a total of 273 yards during this 45-21 loss to the Packers at the Cotton Bowl. Renfro went on to the Pro Bowl that season as a safety and reached the Pro Bowl in each of his first NFL seasons as a defensive back and kick returner. So he was leading the NFL with 10 interceptions in 1969. He spent his entire 14-year career with Dallas and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1996. This is Mel Renfro. And despite being a teammate of Olympian Bullet Bob Hayes, who's come up on the show numerous times, so despite being teammates for years, many of his teammates considered Renfro the best athlete on the team. That's pretty incredible. I think just having Bullet Bob Hayes and Renfro on the same team as return men, like that.
Take your pick.
Yeah. Kick it out of the end zone.
Guys, I'm going to bring up someone who's technically a friend of the show, but mostly just on an error I made very early on in the life of this day in sports. In 1979, rookie goalie Pete Peters extended his unbeaten streak to 10 games. 8-0-2, and his Philadelphia Flyers extended their undefeated streak to 19 games, going 16-0-3, with a 6-4 win over the North Stars. The unbeaten streak went on to last 35 games. They went 25-0-10, the longest unbeaten streak in any major sport in North America. Wow. Yes, Pete Peters came up because it was the certain of the limit of games you could play or whatever, and then it took Pete Peters, which was completely wrong. It was like goalies who haven't played more than 200 games. I picked Pete Peters who had like 600 or something like that. So.
Yeah.
So we bring back Pete Peters this day in 1979. Let's get Pete Peters on the show. Hey, Frank, let's get Pete Peters on the show.
Frank's calling him right now.
1924. All right, here we go. 1924. A new era in hockey begins as the Montreal Forum officially opened, with the Canadiens defeating Toronto 7-1. The original seating capacity for hockey games was 9,300 people. The Forum did not become a full-time home for the Canadiens until 1926. It was the Montreal Maroons' home arena for the first few seasons. The two teams shared from 1926 until the Maroons folded in 1938. The legendary arena had 2 renovations in 1949 and again in 1969. When it closed in 1996, its seating capacity was just under 18,000, including 1,600 standing room fans. Wow, dedication. The Forum hosted 31 Stanley Cup finals over those 72 years. Wow. Only one team ever celebrated a Stanley Cup win over the Canadiens on its ice surface in all those years.
Okay, that's a good question. Was it the Maple Leafs?
No, it was 1989 Calgary Flames.
The Flames, of course.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Lanny McDonald.
That's right.
There we
part
go.
of
He's
that.
coming on the show, I know.
He's going to be here.
The building was also the site of Nadia Comaneci's
Comaneci.
Comaneci.
Comenici,
Comaneci. How many times I get Nadia Comaneci?
Comenici.
Comaneci. Nadia Comaneci's famous Perfect 10 performance during the 1976 Olympics. It also hosted the Beatles. It was the recording site for Rush's 1981 live album and film Exit Stage Left, Mike's favorite. The building is now a movie theater entertainment complex and the site of the Quebec Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Amazing. The Montreal Forum.
They have a, so in that building, you guys have been in there, where else now? Movie theater now. But they have seats, like from the Forum.
Yeah.
And sitting in the seats, one of the statues is the Rocket.
Oh.
Yeah.
Roger Clemens is sitting in
Roger
one of those
Clemens is
is
sitting.
so weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. But they have like
He just
they
loved
kind
Montreal
of
so much.
Yeah.
No, that's wrong.
Sorry, Mike. I thought it was common. I was almost sure
It's
it was
Comaneci.
Comaneci.
Well, maybe I'm saying it wrong.
It's Lanny McDonald.
It's
Mike or Frank, you want to figure it out?
It's Comaneci. I heard it growing up.
Yeah, Comaneci.
I thought it was Comaneci.
Because your house was a gymnastics house, right?
Yeah, all
Yeah.
over the place.
All over.
Uneven bars everywhere.
Pummel horses.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Is it pommel?
It's oh god. 1992.
But on Speam.
New York Jets defensive end Dennis Byrd was left paralyzed after he collided with teammate Scott Merzero as they converged on Lions quarterback Dave Craig and broke his C5 vertebrae. Eventually, after years of therapy, Byrd was able to walk again, but never played football again, obviously. His uniform number 90 has been retired by the Jets, and Byrd became an author and inspirational speaker, telling his story around the country before his untimely death in 2016. During the week leading up to the 2011 playoff game between the Jets and the Patriots, Byrd sent his tattered, torn-up jersey, which had been cut from his body on the day of his injury, along with an inspirational letter to New York head coach Rex Ryan. Ryan was so moved he invited Byrd to speak to the team personally, and the Jets defeated New England 28-21 later that week.
Wow.
Wow, that's great.
And not many Jets playoff victories over New England during that era. So
No.
that had to be a big,
Well, here's a team that beat New England one time. In 2009,
Yes.
the Colts scored 17 fourth quarter points to come back and defeat the Texans 35-27 in Houston. The win was Indianapolis' 20th consecutive regular season victory. And it set an NFL record by being the 5th consecutive game in which they'd come back to win despite trailing in the fourth quarter. Peyton Manning and company won 3 more to extend the unbeaten streak to 23 before finally losing in the season's second last week to the New York Jets. All comes back around, doesn't it?
Full
sure, it
circle.
all ties together.
Exactly.
I got one more. How do you?
Let's go, Matt.
One more. All
Let's
right.
go, Matt.
1997, Grambling State University loses 30-7 to Southern University, marking the last game of Eddie Robinson's 57 years as Grambling's head coach. He was the first coach in college football to win 400 games. In only his second season there, he went 9-0. He was undefeated, untied, and unscored upon.
Wow.
Oh.
Holy cow.
Isn't that that's
pretty good season.
A pretty good season.
Yeah.
His final record, coaching record, is 408 wins, 165 losses, and 15 ties.
Pretty good.
Coach Rob.
I don't have any more left, Sandy. You have one more about
I'll do it. Sure.
Rogie if you want.
Yeah, Rogie Vachon, 1977. Rogie Vachon became the first goalie to win 150 games to the Kings. With a 4-2 win over the visiting Washington Capitals. Vachon won 171 games with the Kings before departing as a free agent for the Red Wings. That remained the most in team history until Jonathan Quick came along. But 1977, Rogie Vachon, one of those like childhood favorites, Rogie Vachon.
It's just fun to say his
Great name.
And whenever I see someone who has the Vachon purple and yellow,
Yeah.
that whole Kings, that's a classic.
It is. It is. It's a classic.
Rogie, perfect name. All right, Matt, fire up the quick hits.
Oh, quick hit. 1996. Guy Hebert recorded the 11th shutout of his NHL career and recorded the first goalie assist in Mighty Ducks history during a 2-0 win over Chicago and Anaheim.
Quick hit. 2004. The Packers defeated the Rams 45-17 in St. Louis as Green Bay quarterback Brett Favre started his 200th consecutive NFL game. Including the playoffs, Favre went on to start 321 consecutive games in his career, an NFL record for any position, not just quarterback, other than a special teams player, like kicker is not included, but still an incredible 321 straight games as a quarterback. It's incredible.
Even that game where he barfed on the field and kept on playing.
That's right.
That's Brett. 2005, Ottawa's Ray Emery is our quick hit.
Yeah,
because he became the first goalie in NHL history to win each of the first 9 starts. Recorded the first shutout of his career, the 4-0 win over Montreal. Emery had won each of his 3 starts late in the previous season and 6 straight to start this season. 3 of those 9 wins were against Montreal. Quick hit.
I did kind of enjoy how that was feeling like a late night radio.
Yeah, it was a little too slow.
No, I did. No.
It was Quiet Storm.
1980. Quick hit. 1980. In the first ever meeting of this now historic college football matchup, Navy defeated Army 24-0.
Did you say 1980?
I did say 1980.
I just wanted
it's up for debate.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I thank you for checking that. 1890.
There you go.
In the first ever meeting of this now historic college football matchup, Navy defeated Army 24-0. The 2 military academies football teams have now faced each other well over 100 times, with Navy currently holding the very slight edge in wins 58-54 with 7 ties. 1890.
Oof. Quick hit, 2017, 21-year-old Philadelphia rookie guard Ben Simmons set an NBA record by making 24 free throw attempts in the fourth quarter of a game versus Washington. The number 1 overall pick in that year's draft only made half of them, but still finished with 31 points, 18 rebounds, and 4 assists and 2 blocks and 2 steals in a 118-113 76ers win.
Quick hit. 2019, the Eagles made Lane Johnson the highest paid offensive lineman in NFL history, both in annual salary, 4 years, $72 million, and guaranteed money, $54.6 million. A 3-time Pro Bowl player at the time, Johnson missed parts of the next 2 seasons with knee and ankle injuries, but returned to be a first-team All-Pro in 2022.
Quick hit! 2015, Edmonton defeated the Ottawa Red Blacks 26-20 in the Grey Cup final held in Winnipeg, Manitoba. It was the first Grey Cup appearance for the Red Blacks franchise, which had started as an expansion team just 1 year earlier and marked the first time that an Ottawa-based CFL team appeared in a Grey Cup game since 1981 when the Rough Riders also lost to Edmonton.
Yes.
Quick hit, 1987. At the Skins game competition in La Quinta, California, Lee Trevino made a dramatic hole-in-one on the 165-yard 17th hole to win a $175,000 skin. Trevino won the made-for-TV event over Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and Fuzzy Zeller with $310,000 in winnings on the day. Afterwards, he said it was just the second hole-in-one he'd ever hit and admitted he hadn't seen the previous one about 10 years earlier because, quote, it was early in the morning and he'd been out late the night before, so I had to be told about it, he said.
Oh, classic.
Love that.
Quick hit. 1976, after playing 1 season with a division rival, Baltimore Orioles, slugger Reggie Jackson signed a 5-year, $3.5 million contract with the New York Yankees. Jackson never won an NL MVP in New York, but his postseason heroics of the Yankees gave him the nickname Mr. October, and he hit 144 home runs in his 5 seasons in the Bronx, helping the Yankees to 2 World Series titles by hitting 12 home runs in his 24 playoff games in pinstripes. People often forget he played for the Orioles.
Yeah, just the 1 year.
Yep.
Guys, dim the lights and light the candles. It's time for birthdays.
Hey, all right.
All right.
Are you ready for that?
I didn't think it was going to be birthdays
I thought you were going to
getting
go to
into.
deaths. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe.
We'll light some more candles for
Okay.
that.
Okay.
1988. I got to double check these dates now, but 1988. 9-time Pro Bowl and Super Bowl QB Russell Wilson was born in Cincinnati, Ohio. Russell
1888.
Wilson. 1988.
1878.
Russell Wilson's still playing, and he's starting to turn it around this
He
season.
is starting to turn around. Finally, the Broncos are starting to turn around a little bit.
1922, Hall of Famer, 9-time All-Star, White Sox outfielder Minnie Minoso, born in Perico, Cuba.
Yeah, so selection last episode for my left fielder.
Yeah.
All right, let's dig in. In 1941, 11-time All-Star, 5-time Gold Glove Tigers catcher Bill Freehan in Detroit, Michigan. Underrated.
Yeah, played his whole career in Detroit, too. That's
Sure did.
I like when that happens.
1960, 2-time Mets Silver Slugger winner and a 30-30 man, Howard Johnson was born in Clearwater, Florida.
1969, Hall of Fame Yankees reliever Mariano Rivera, born in Panama City, Panama.
In 1971, happy birthday, longtime Buffalo Sabres tough guy Brad May in Toronto, Ontario.
Mayday.
1927 Hall of Fame LA and Brooklyn Dodgers broadcaster Vin Scully was born in Bronx, New York.
in Bronx.
Does anyone say the Bronx
Also,
anymore?
Well, I was just reading and there was no
No,
the,
yeah,
and
that's
so I
fine.
just,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Bronx it up.
I figured-
Also born
Yeah.
in Bronx in 1972, one-time NBA All-Star and 4th overall pick in 93, Jamal Mashburn, born in Bronx, New York.
See, if you use the pause,
Yeah, it's
you
good.
get away with
It
it.
works.
Hey guys, let's lower the lights a little bit and wheel in the casket. It's time for some deaths.
Play the Undertaker's theme music.
Oh, no.
2021, 1983 AL Cy Young winning pitcher Lamar Hoyt died at age 66. Part of that pretty
kinda
good 83 White Sox
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
I was gonna say he looked pretty old in 1983.
I know.
He was
Yeah.
one of those old guys. Who
He
looked,
definitely did. Oh, man.
In the year 2000, Hall of Famer and 9-time Pro Bowl place kicker for the Cleveland Browns, Lou the Toe Grauza, died at age 76.
Yes.
And in
Also-
19, oh yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say he's also a standout lineman. You know, like people forget that he also was like
Back in the
blocking,
day, yeah, they-
blocking for those big rushing teams.
Yeah, yeah. And in 1974, we lost former heavyweight boxing champ James J. Braddock, who was, of course, the subject of the film with Russell Crowe, Cinderella Man.
Yes.
He died at age 69 in 1974.
Whoa.
Great story. That guy's story is amazing, though.
So, no particular segue, but let's bring the lights back up, put the casket away for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we want to get into our draft. And
I mean, we had
Well,
we
let's call it a night.
we talked about Line A on this.
we
on
did.
that.
We have some
had a-
Jets.
Yeah.
We peppered in some Jets there. We love the Jets. Mike's going to do his best. We are going to draft each a lineup of our all-time Jets. And this is now important because there are two versions of the Jets.
Yes, we have to make the rules clear.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Jets that started in 79-80, went and moved
In
to
96.
Arizona, and then we have that. So you can't go to Arizona,
No.
but you can pick it up again when the Thrashers became the Jets again.
Right.
So you must have played for the Winnipeg Jets, not the
Yes.
team they became, and not the team they were before.
but not the WHA.
That's
Jets,
correct.
Not like Hull
Right.
and Nilsson and
Right.
Hedberg.
Right.
So
and
no
those
Bobby
guys.
Hull, no Shane Doan. Well, you
No.
can do Shane Doan, but he really
But
never
really
played,
not.
much.
And I think Hull actually did play in the NHL for a little bit right at the end. But yeah, we're not taking
so
it.
we're,
Like-
that's the rules we made
That's the
for
rules.
ourselves.
We want like great Winnipeg Jets players.
Yes.
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 That the fans in Winnipeg remember as Jets.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
And
so
you know, it could be great play. You could just like them.
you
No.
could just like him.
No.
Okay.
No,
that's-
this is Jets we did not like. Yeah, great segue.
That's a even
Okay.
more esoteric.
Okay, but yeah, any kind of format you wanted, you could just say like that guy.
And Sandman, you go first.
That is that true?
Yeah.
See, this
well.
is yeah.
What's wrong? What's wrong?
Under protest. All right, go ahead.
Why is it under protest?
I don't want to go third.
Oh, that's why it's
well,
under
that's a
protest.
fair
Yeah,
that's
a
fair.
fair
You know what? You
protest.
should
That
go
makes
first.
sense.
Then.
Okay,
Perfectly
no.
reasonable.
That's
All
true.
right, go ahead,
You know
you
what?
guys.
Once I saw at the Olympics, guys like, I don't really want a bronze, and they were like, well, what do you want? He said, I want a gold, and they just gave him a gold
Give it to him. That's how it works.
because no one else knew to ask that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? This is gonna hurt Matt where it
Yeah.
hurts the most.
And
right
I
in his
wasn't going
bum
to do
hole.
it, but now I am going to do it.
Dale Hawerchuk. I'm going with Ducky, all-time favorite Jet, Dale Hawerchuk.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have to take Teemu Selanne as my first overall great Winnipeg Jet. 76 goals.
So that is Mike taking your right winger, I should point out. And I
Yeah,
took a center,
that's
of course.
right.
and
My
then
right
Hawerchuk.
winger
Yeah.
is now taken.
Okay.
Timu is my guy.
And Matt sitting there in his Timu shirt,
That's steaming.
steaming about going third.
I am going to pick. I'm going to take a defenseman, Phil Housley.
Nice.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I can't argue with that. All right. So
No.
all the Hall of Famers are on. Okay.
Yeah.
They might be actually. The Hall of Famers are off the board. Okay. Okay. Excellent. All right. So I'm looking for some sort of. Well, there's a little bit of the shortage in some of these positions.
A little bit.
Man, no. You know what? I don't like him enough to take him, so I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to go. No, you're going to do it for the sake of being just like the guy. I have to say he was a better player, Keith Tkachuk. Not a huge Keith Tkachuk fan, but I'm going to take him because
he's
he's
your
good
left
enough.
winger?
My left winger, yeah.
Okay. I am going to then take. I'm sort of looking through this. I'm going to take my goalie, and I'm going to take Connor Hellebuck.
Nice.
Because he's won a Vezina. He's pretty great goalie, so he's my goalie, Connor
No,
Hellebuck.
that's the choice. Yep.
Okay. I am going to take my right winger, and I am going to take Paul McLean.
Yeah, good choice. Surprisingly amazing numbers you kind of forget about.
Yeah.
And most of us only know him as a coach now.
Yeah.
But yep, and he's a East Coaster. So there's a lot of people out in East Coaster, Matt. When I visit my wife out there, they talk about Paul McLean, a popular player out in the East Coast.
Sure.
When you visit your wife out there,
My visit my wife, yeah. Well, of course, Paul, of course, is now married to my
that's
ex-wife,
right.
Kylie.
So, she's in prison.
So when I get the chance, she's in jail as well. Thank you. She's remarried and in jail. It's a great, sad story,
a whole
really.
life for her.
Oh, that's just perfect. Okay,
Whose turn is it now?
I believe it's me.
Yeah,
back to
that's 2 rounds, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
we're try to keep up. It's 2 rounds. Okay, so let's dive in. I don't have to go to right wing. You guys have taken that already. Well, man, I got to go with the guy with the great song, Teppo Numminen.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to hear the Street Heart cover, Numminen saw you skating across the blue line.
Oh boy.
Make sure you check that
I'll
out.
be sure I don't. Okay.
As soon as I said Street Heart, you were out. You know who likes Street Heart though? Your dad.
Yeah, that's true.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
For sure he does. Okay, I have a right winger and a goalie. I need a left winger, so I'm going to take also current Winnipeg Jet, Kyle Connor, because that kid is lighting it up right now. So I'm going with a hot pick. Kyle Connor is my left winger.
Nothing wrong with that.
Man, I'm gonna get one of these guys is gonna get taken from me, so I'm gonna have to go. Oh, I can't let him go. I gotta take Thomas Steen. I gotta take Thomas Steen as my center.
You should.
Okay.
You absolutely should. Shouldn't be pained about that at all.
No, that was far
Love
more
that.
dramatic.
I love
than it
that.
is. Yeah.
Love that. Pick.
I need a goalie. I need a defenseman. And I need a right winger. Right winger, you guys have each taken. Yeah, I mean, I think I can go back on one of 2 goalies. So I'm going to go with Buff. Dustin Bufflin is going to be my other defenseman.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, great pick.
Okay, then it's to me. I also need defensemen, so I'm going to take Tobias Enstrom as my defenseman. Okay. My first. And again, now I'm officially now just saying names.
Just saying names.
Yeah.
Being honest.
If he could be standing right in front of me, I would wearing an Enstrom jersey.
I'm on your team,
I
he'd say.
wouldn't. That's great, Toby. Play defense.
Well, I know people are screaming, "How did this guy make it to me?" But for my other defenseman, I am taking Dave Babbage.
Yeah, they're screaming.
Oh, there's a lot of
With the mustache.
hot topic. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's grab my goalie. This was down to 2 guys, but I got to go with Bob Essensa.
Yeah.
He was kind of the goalie when Matt and I were together, married. Matt and I were married back
In
when
prison and
in
on the
prison.
East Coast.
And so the era we were in high school into college, so I got to go with Bobby.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a centerman and another defenseman. I'm gonna take defenseman Boris Mironov as my other defenseman.
Nice.
And the crowd goes quiet.
Well, it's a name I hadn't thought of in a little
I
while.
know. Got to type some of these picks in, but I love it.
This has a lot of excitement in the air.
Back
right
to-
now.
no.
My heart
Not a
is
buzz.
racing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you got? I'm going to take a left winger, Morris Lukowicz.
Oh, great choice.
The greatest hockey card I remember from when you were a kid too. He had like the long hair. And it
You
was
did.
kind of
You
rock
did.
starish.
Number 12.
He was a good player, and that team was terrible.
Oh,
You sound disappointed.
am,
Sorry
yeah.
to tell you, they didn't come out of the box good.
okay.
All right, right winger, guy I like, Blake Wheeler.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Got to go with Blake Wheeler.
And I only need a centerman now, so I am going to take. Mark Scheifele, current or long time, played for the current incarnation of the Jets for a long time.
Yeah.
Terrific player. He's my centerman. I'm a little current with my Jets.
That's fine.
You
I
guys
think,
are.
I think that just mildly broke our hearts because Alexei Zhamnov didn't get
I
taken.
thought about it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No Zhamnov there. Yeah.
Okay, just me. I just have my
You left.
goalie. He was only there a couple of years, but we remember him for the Bulin Wall,
Yep.
Nikolai Hababulin.
Yep. Going with Habibulin. So I know that was exciting, on fire draft we just
my
had
God.
there.
You could just hear people's hearts pounding.
We didn't take Patrick Laine.
Patrick Laine did
No.
not get taken. No Zhamnov, no Ehlers, no Connor,
Nope.
Freddie
Oh,
Olsen,
Lori Boschman.
Randy Carlisle.
Well, Randy Carlisle, Dave Ellett,
Brian
Josh
Hayward.
Morrissey,
Yeah.
Freddie Olsen.
So many
Freddie
good Jets
Olsen.
out there. Now, This show needs an enema. No, this show needs a punch up right now.
Yes.
And we are going to get it
Are we
right
gonna
now.
do it?
I don't know what it was about that Jets draft that felt like the energy was a little bit low. Was it just too much thinking going on?
Well, Matt was fuming the whole time.
Oh, he was
No,
so
I think
upset.
I was bringing it.
Frank,
I
did you
brought
feel
it.
the energy was a little low?
Yeah, it was.
Frank pumping us up. We're going to go now and get judged. All right. Our guest judge today is Dave Ellett. Played 16 seasons in the NHL. It started when he was drafted 75th overall by the Winnipeg Jets in the 1982 NHL entry draft. But before he played a game in the NHL, he won an NCAA championship with the Bowling Green Falcons. He made an instant impact to the Jets, including scoring a huge goal in the 1990 Smythe Division semifinal versus the evil Edmonton Oilers. That is long remembered by Jets fans as one of the biggest in franchise history. Dave was traded to the Leafs, where he again was a massive part of those great teams of 93 and 94. They came oh so close to making it to the Stanley Cup Finals. After that, Dave played for the Devils, the Bruins, and the Blues. All told, that's over 1,000 games played in the NHL. And he still holds the record for most points by Leaf defenseman in a playoff year with 18 and most assists by a defenseman in a playoff year with 15. Please welcome to the show, Leafs and more importantly, Jets legend, Dave Ellett.
Woohoo! Woo! Wow, heck of an intro. I should have had you hired as my PR guy years ago.
Hey, you earned it. That's all real.
Yeah, that's why it's all real. That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Dave, today we're talking, of course, about the Jets. And I was born in Manitoba, grew up in Toronto, so I'm a split Leafs-Jets fan. And what I'm curious about before we get started here is, I know they don't do this in hockey like they do it in baseball, but if you had to pick, say, a jersey, if you're going into the Hall of Fame and it had to be Leafs or Jets, or what jersey would you pick to be? What would you want to represent?
Wow, that's a tough question.
Right off the bat, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for warning me on that one.
No
Welcome
problem.
to the show, Dave. Here's the hardest question.
Look, I spent almost identical time and games played with each organization. I loved them both. Winnipeg, I started there, and we had a group, the core group, were probably all within 3 to 4 years in age difference. So kind of broke in and grew up together. Loved it there. But I would have to say probably Toronto, just because of the couple of years where we had those two playoff runs, and you know how that is. So that's a tough call for me, but maybe Toronto edges it just because of the playoff success we had those 2 years.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
That's fair. Yeah. I got to ask you, Sandy brought up the goal in the intro there. I'm talking about 1990 in the Smythe Division semifinal versus the Oilers, your second overtime goal that gave us the win, the Jets there. First of all, do you think it should have been a penalty shot when they hauled down Steen, Rutsalainen hauled him down going in there, or do you think that it was the right call?
Well, I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
No, back in that area, that you know, they would have never. No official would have had the guts to call a power play at that time. You know,
penalty shot. Yeah.
Penalty shot was, man, if there were 5 in a full season, you know, that was something else. Nowhere near what it is now. So in today's rules, probably would have been.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, what happened about a minute later?
Yeah. So Steen gets it back to you on the point there. Did you think about passing it over to Olesen, or you just took a shot? Did you know where you're shooting?
Oh yeah. Well, we had it set up with Freddie and I because we switched sides, so he would have been on for a setup for a one timer.
Okay.
And I said, just be ready. And I watched. Messier didn't take the draw. He was in the slot and he kind of shaded toward Freddie, so there was a wide open shooting lane, and I wasn't going to waste that opportunity.
Beautiful goal.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that moment. That was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, but unfortunately the series turned after that.
Yeah.
We won't talk about that part, but yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I did definitely experience the real hatred of the Oilers when you're in Winnipeg. I was like everything because I came back from Toronto back to Winnipeg, and everyone was always saying like no one could stand Gretzky. Everyone talked about how Gretzky was so mad that the Jets beat them in the WHA final, and Gretzky was so mad about that he had the winning puck. Remember the whole thing, Matt, where it was like Gretzky stole the puck and he wouldn't give the puck back, and he hates Winnipeg, and oh my god, that's dramatic.
Tremendous amount of respect for the players they had there, but as far as I'm concerned, 7 years of getting pounded by them in Winnipeg, I don't mind. The Oilers are on a losing streak.
Not a big deal. Mike, you wanted to ask about some Leafs fan.
Well, yeah, Dave, I know you were born in the States, but you're kind of a transplanted Canadian now, and I wondered how often you find yourself thinking about that 93 playoff series, how great a Toronto Montreal Stanley Cup final would have been that year if you guys got a couple of breaks the other way. Like do you find yourself thinking about that sometimes, how great that team could have been and would have been, and how great that series would have been?
Yeah. So actually, I am from Ottawa. Ottawa is my hometown. My brother's from there. But that series, for me, it would have been the only time I would have been in a Stanley Cup final. But looking back on it, and they were really trying to grow the game in the U.S. And I think that my comment on it is I'm not a conspiracy guy or whatever. They ended up beating us. They won. But for the growth of hockey at that time, I really think, and TV was really starting to grow exposure in the U.S., that if there was a Montreal-Toronto Stanley Cup final at that time, I think it would have opened a lot of eyes to sort of non-hockey people. What kind of game it is, the amount of history that's been involved in it, and the passion, that there is in the game from the fans' point of view. So,
yeah, that's a really interesting point. I never even thought of that. Yeah. I think a lot of Canadians think about that series hypothetically and imagine what could have been.
Yeah, when you look at the National Hockey League, there's probably no more two historic franchises than Montreal and Toronto.
No, indeed.
Dave,
Trying to
how much
would have been great.
Yeah,
absolutely. I was going to say, Dave, how much do you hate Wayne Gretzky? But I think that I'm going to let you have just the one question that was a hard-hitting one, and we'll jump into this draft. So we have this assembled draft of our 3 picks for the top all-time Jets lineups, and it's a tough pick when you get down to it, of course, which one is best. But we want to get your analysis of each of these teams. So maybe we'll just start with Team 1, which was Tkachuk, Howard, Wheeler, Numminen, Bufflin, and Essensa. What did you think of Team 1? Some thoughts on that? Some of the guys you might have played with.
Well, pretty good players.
Yeah,
I would say the one probably. The one change I would for sure make would be moving Wheeler out of there for Solani. So I'll give you a little history. When Solani was 18 years old, he came to training camp. We had training camp in Moncton, and in the scrimmages and that, he was not allowed to play in exhibition games. So he just played scrimmages, and obviously they had him on Howard Chuck's line. And basically we were unable to stop those two.
Wow.
It was pretty amazing. So we actually had meetings, after a bunch of the leaders, and with John Ferguson as the GM at the time, we're like, you can't let this kid go back to Finland. You can't. And he was livid. He goes, you think I don't know that? You think I don't see that? He's like, the owner won't buy, because he still had military service.
Oh, right.
So he had to go back, and the Jets could have bought him out of that, but they decided against that. So that, for me, that could be, if you had Tkachuk, Howard Chuck, and Solani, that potentially could be a historic line. The Jets.
Yeah.
And I kind of think would lean towards Hellebuck versus
right.
Yeah.
Played with Bob. He had a really good career, was a steady goalie. But boy, this Hellebuck has sure put up numbers.
Yeah.
He's been a steady, like, workhorse type of goalie.
Yeah.
I would say at this point in time, it's probably the best goalie that's played in Winnipeg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the only one who's won a Vezina anyway. I mean, not that that's everything, but that it surely does mean something. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. This is a big year for him, a little bit of a bounce back year,
Right.
And it started off well for him. But I am a real fan of Hellebuck.
Yeah.
So you're so team one, you had some switch outs, but we'll shift into team two. I think we've got Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Timo Solani, Tobias Enstrom, Boris Mironov, and Connor Hellebuck. You've already said is your favorite goalie, so we'll assume that that's going to be the best goalie of the three teams. But how about the other guys in that lineup? You've talked a little bit Solani, but the other four there.
Well, I really like the two current guys, Scheifele and Connor.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Connor is really starting to emerge as a top 20 player in the National Hockey League. With the speed he has, and he's really, I think he's become a real finisher. Top guy that's got a potential for 40, 50 goals every year, I believe.
Mm.
Not a fan. Who are the two defensemen?
It's not a good sign when you can't remember.
Enstrom and Mironov.
It was Tobias Enstrom and Boris Mironov.
All right. Who was drinking?
No, I this is where my not growing. This is my team. All confessions here. This is where me not growing up in Winnipeg shows. I am not as familiar as the other two cats in this draft with Jets legends, and at a certain point, because we couldn't pick you because you were going to be our judge, I had to go elsewhere. So my lack of Jets knowledge is showing itself here a little bit.
Yeah, there's a couple others I don't see on Dave Babbage.
Yeah.
Carlisle was a steady, cagey guy. Was there for a long time.
Yeah,
and I really like the kid that's there now. Morrissey.
Yeah, Josh Morrissey. Yeah.
Let's be honest. I blew that one.
Oh,
But to be fair, in our format, we did.
Yes, it was a draft.
Yeah, it was a draft. So you couldn't take the player the other guy took. Yeah.
I didn't even know when I saw the list that Mironov played in Winnipeg.
There you go.
So Dave, Michael, do you think Randy Carlisle, when he was born, looked 60 years old? Do you think he always look old?
But he was a really a good guy, and he was a really smart hockey player. I learned a lot from him, and a tremendous competitor. Like he lose at anything. Hated it.
So you're not surprised that he became a coach, obviously, and head coach. And, not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Did you ever golf with him?
Golf wasn't one of his tremendous favorites, but still laid a licking on him. hunting, fishing were his areas of specialty.
Okay. Right.
And he thought cards too, but if you consider paying everyone your area of expertise, you need to read. We spent time and sitting in airports waiting for connecting flights. So cribbage was our game.
Nice.
Very good.
So when he was losing, was he the kind of guy that just got really quiet when you were playing cribbage, or was he like really loud about it?
There is absolutely nothing quiet about Randy Carlisle.
There's the quote. There's the quote for this episode. That's gonna be right there.
We're gonna have him on and give that back to him. Dave, you're revealing your veteran status here by talking about connecting flights. Players now aren't they're not getting a lot of connecting flights, are they?
No, I don't ever want to hear about being tired from their form of travel.
Yeah.
We have one more team to look at. We have Morris Lukowich, Thomas Steen, Paul McLean, Phil Housley, Dustin Bufflin, professional professional fisherman.
Babbage on this one.
What's that one? Oh, is that a different team?
I think this
team
Babbage,
right. Yeah, that's right.
Housley and Babbage.
Oh yeah, we'll bring back Babbage. I'm sorry about that. And Bufflin's gone fishing. I forgot. And then of course we have Nikolai Habibulin. That's supposed to be Babbage. So that's supposed to be Babbage down there in team 3 there. Dave.
Yeah, I was wondering because Bufflin was twice, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Babbage was a very underrated player. He was actually my first roommate when I turned on the road, and a mentor of mine, kind of on and off the ice. But just a big, strong guy that could play 30 minutes every night. He could defend, he could score, he could skate, he could shoot. He was big, he was strong. Very underrated player. The suspicious one here is Morris Lukowicz.
Why do you say that?
Well, Luke put up pretty good numbers with the Jets, but that's when they were in the WHA.
Yeah.
When the NHL struggled a little bit, and there's two left wingers that I like. Another guy that probably didn't get much respect, but he was just an up and down guy and could score 20, 25 every year. Scott O'Neill.
Yeah.
Guy, but the guy I would have really liked to seen one of you pick on left wing is the kid playing there now, Lowry.
Yeah.
I think he's deserving of getting some recognition for what he's done. Can kind of play in all roles. He's a captain now. Him with Thomas Steen and Paul McLean, that would have been a heck of a line.
Yeah.
Thomas Steen, you guys probably don't really understand how good a hockey player he was. Just under the radar type guy, Swedish guy back in the day that had to take a lot of abuse because he was Swedish, never shied away from it. And as far as seeing the ice and, seeing passes or hitting defensemen late, probably one of the better ones that I've ever played with.
Yeah.
And then of course, Big Paul McLean, 40-goal scorer and tough in front of the net, could really score, battle in front of the net, and probably during his time in the league was probably one of the tougher guys in the NHL. Like I seen him, I don't know, it'd be surprising to me if he, surprised, but there are a couple of young kids that challenged him, and about 2 minutes later, they wish they hadn't.
You just looking at you like Babbage and you like Paul McLean. Just a side note. So obviously you respect a good mustache. What do you think's going on with Matt's mustache right now? I mean, for the people looking on YouTube.
Should it disqualify him from winning the pool?
I feel like I had some mustache players, and so I needed to have a mustache for my team.
Wow. Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah, well.
They're getting there. There's still a few more days in November.
That's true. Still working it.
Matt is a redhead too, so it's a good Lanny McDonald look, really. I think is what you got going on there.
Yep.
You gotta get Lanny on.
Yeah. Saw him last week. Our Coyotes alumni have our big golf tournament in Arizona, and he graciously comes out every year and donates his time. And so Lanny, one of the classiest guys you'll ever come across.
I saw him last night.
Yeah.
I was at the Flames game last night. I saw him there last night, and he is one of the best guys. Every time I see him at an event or doing something, he's always doing more than he has to do. He'll talk to everybody. He'll get up and talk to the group, whatever. We're going to get him on the show too, there, Dave.
If you've never had a chance to meet him, all your guests there should get the chance and go say hi to him one day. They'll really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Really nice guy.
We're going to use that quote from you, and we're going to get him on the show. That's what it is. Yeah.
highly recommended.
Okay. Well, this is we're getting down to it now, Dave. We've got the review of the three teams. I know you had some switch outs, and do you want to tell us who you think won this, and then tell us maybe you have your own team, I think, or is that sort of how you were revealing it during our draft?
I'm gonna have my own team, but it's a little bit of cheating because it wasn't a draft process.
No problem.
True. That's fine.
Hey, you're allowed to cheat. That's okay.
Obviously, team one with Howard Chuck and Kachuk, the two Chucks, I think has a big advantage on everyone.
Yeah.
Players and there's another sad thing. Dale should have played with Keith.
Yeah.
Should have been teammates. They ended up, I think, they're traded for each other.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's Dale was the first pick in the draft for sure. Howard Chuck had to be the first pick in the draft. Yeah, that was an easy pick.
One thing I think everyone can see, those three teams pretty solid down the middle. When you got
Yeah.
Mark Scheifele, and Thomas Steen, you could win some hockey games with those three centermen.
Might be okay.
Absolutely.
So is this a final pick then? Are you going with which team are you going to go with there as your winner of those three?
I would say the winner would have to be Team One because he's my favorite, and you got Dale Howard-Chuck.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
That's
that might
Sandy.
have been an unfair advantage for me because I got first pick. I think
Bonus having number one pick, right?
that's exactly it.
Yeah. I think we all picked Howard-Chuck number one. Yeah.
Matt was very upset he didn't get first pick, and his reasoning was because he wanted first pick. So I don't know if that's a rule of any kind.
You gotta want it.
I'll be quite honest with you. Timo would be right there too.
Mhm.
Yep, he was the second off the board. Yep.
But Dale is very underrated and was kind of in a class of his own as far as it went to Winnipeg.
Yep. So you said that you might, if you had your own team, do you have any people we've missed on the list? Or
if I was probably allowed to pick my all-time, if I'm going to start a game,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Keith Tkachuk on left wing, Dale Howard-Chuck centering, Timo Solani on right wing.
Yeah.
Left defense, it's a Dave.
Okay.
that's fair.
For this purpose, it's Dave Babich.
Okay.
And his partner is Teppo Numminen.
Yeah.
And the starting goalie would be Hellebuck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty good history right there.
That's
A little
pretty
bit.
amazing. And you left off Boris Mironov. So that tells you.
Quite honestly, I think you planted that just to see if I was paying attention.
No, I'm just revealing my lack of Jets knowledge. That's all.
That was my favorite line of yours, Dave, when you said, "Now let's defensemen. I can't even remember who they are. I don't like the guys I don't like. What are they again? Who are those guys?"
Yeah, the other guy too, I think is doing a heck of a job. Is that Morrissey? Very underrated. You know, he plays in all situations, and he's his offensive upside is a lot more than I thought it was going to be. So, really good player, that Morrissey.
Yeah, still pretty young too.
Still young, yeah. I agree. So,
Dave, this has been amazing to have you on the show. Both as a Leafs and Jets fan, equally great. And I don't think we've ever. This is the first time we've had anyone on the show who's had any association with the Cleveland Barons. And of course, your dad played on the Barons, so that's a great association for our team. This has always been my favorite hat. Mike bought that for me, the Cleveland Barons. I've worn it out. Yeah. So put that in the archives.
And you have a deep cut connection to another judge we've had on. We had Glenn Healy on the show, and I think when he was with Western Michigan University, you played against him with the Falcons.
Oh, he had to bring that one up, didn't he? Yeah, the CCHA tournament at Jolos Arena.
Yeah,
we were obviously the favorite team. And they beat us in overtime, and I think Heels had 70 saves or 75.
Wow.
Like, he was unbelievable. Like, you know, and he reminds me of it every time.
That's hard to believe. Sound like Glenn at all,
right? Yeah, it was actually one of the most amazing, and they weren't cheap saves. Like, he was unbelievable that game.
Yeah, but you went on to win. That was the year you went on to win the NCAA, didn't you? In the 4 overtimes. So
correct.
You guys had a great year there.
Yeah, we ended up getting an at-large bid, and then ended up winning and making the final, and then beating Minnesota Duluth in 4 overtimes.
Amazing.
Wow. You have to be young to play a 4 overtime game, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Dave, thanks so much for being on the show. This has been so great. We'll definitely want to have you back at some point. And where are you located right now? Where are you living right now?
In Minneapolis.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Well, Yeah, just got remarried, and we're spending the winter here in Minneapolis, so that's going to be interesting, but fun.
So you'll be indoors a lot.
I'm back in the hockey central here. Gonna go watch a lot of high school hockey and junior and college, all right here. So
yeah, that's the center.
Well,
Right.
you were prepared when you played for Winnipeg for this kind of weather out for the rest of your life, so you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. Thanks for being on the show. Come back sometime.
hey guys, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Okay, there you go. Brought the hot discussion.
He pulled us out of the fire.
Yes, we pulled the fire. Super fun. That was episode 30. So we have now hit 30 episodes. We thank everybody who's watching, who's listening, and we're going to bring it again very soon in December as we head towards the holidays. Yep, Mike agrees. Mike agreed. Excellent work. All right, we'll do that for this day in sports. That's Frank over there. I'm Sandy Jobin Bevins.
I'm Matt Kippen.
Mike Sheriff.
And we'll see you soon on This Day in Sports.